Amazing.
Is it going to be written, or like how is it going to be? Like what are you going to do with it?
So I'm literally just going to record it and then I'm going to rewrite it.
Okay.
Before I'm going to publish it, it's going to go on the blog and it's going to go on the Instagram, where obviously I would love to take some pictures of your jewellery and maybe share some of your photos as well, if you would be happy to. And then obviously I'm going to send you everything first before it's going to be published, so you can have a look.
Then it's all fine. Then we'll see where we end. Usually I talk a lot and then you just tell me like, okay, stop, shut up now.
No. Please, that's exactly what I don't want. So this is perfect start. So I was wondering, so you lived in Hong Kong for a while, right?
Yeah, 11 years.
11 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's very different when I first came here.
Yeah. So how do you remember when you moved in here? What was your intention or expectation about Hong Kong?
Well, I had none, which is like and you'll find this when you speak to more people. It's a classic Hong Kong story. I came here with my ex-boyfriend, and we were supposed to stay here a year and a half perhaps, and all of a sudden it's 11 years later. So he actually moved on, he's got another partner, and he's living in Bangkok now. I clearly stayed here. I've got myself a very, very nice partner now, so it's all different. But yeah, so no intentions. What was very different then, no coffee shops and hardly any good bakeries, so definitely evolved. A lot more freedom though.
Yeah, so true. So you moved originally from Holland?
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
Yeah. I've never even worked in the Netherlands. This is like Hong Kong is the first city I've ever worked in, like properly after my studies.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So have you been doing jewellery before you moved into Hong Kong?
No, I've always wanted to. So no, not at all. I'm actually so I'm a linguist, French, and I studied European studies with Spanish. So I'm quite more like onto the language. But yes, I've always wanted to do jewelry, but I never did for no reason. Started making leather bags that I did as a social enterprise. Then I've always taken photos. I've always done like creative stuff, but I always had full-time jobs. So yeah, and I think it's a few months ago that I thought, you know what, fine, I'm just gonna do it. We can't go anywhere.
Yeah,
I'm gonna see how far I get. And
interesting. So how do you resource, for example, the leather?
The leather I buy in Shamsopo, so that is. Have you been there already?
No.
It's if you were to go on the Red Line, Mongkok, Prince Edward, Shamsopo.
Oh,
super cool. Like if you ever want to go, I'll happily take you because it's awesome there. It's very local. They've got everything that you want and that you don't want there. So anything on the creative side of things.
Yes, please.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's
love
really
to.
so lovely.
Yeah,
It's awesome for photography. I used to buy my leather there. Just really nice to be. It's also the poorest part of Hong Kong, so it also has a bit of history, which is not always nice, but it's definitely like you feel that there is a lot going on there.
Yeah. Oh wow. So this has always been kind of more of your hobby, but have you considered to making it like a full-time job, or is it not?
Don't know. Perhaps like photography for sure, because I've been doing that professionally for longer. But you know how expensive Hong Kong is now, right? So yes, I'd love to, but not for now. Like that would be something in the future when I don't have to necessarily sustain a living.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
because when I had a look on your jewellery, it's so different from anything that I see.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's a little bit more decadent, and it's more decent than a lot of stacks of gold.
Okay.
At least so far what I saw. So I wonder, how do you kind of bring your inspiration into the jewellery? Don't worry, we're gonna get into photography.
It's just because that's why I brought it. You won't see that on the thing. So I brought some. You don't have to look at. We did a market, or I did a market on Lama. So kind of how it started was like very simple, just that, and then I was like just using a little other thread to go around, and very simple. This is a bracelet that I cut up and made a ring out of. So this is fairly unprocessed, if you will, right?
Wow.
Then I wanted to learn how to put stones into a ring, which I had so basically I've YouTubed everything. Then I found out how you do that, and then I knew how to put stones in. Then this was actually my second try with stones, is to set them with like
It's my favorite color.
Is it? Yeah, cool. Yeah, what if you want it?
Oh my god.
So that was then what I'm guessing, what I'm trying to say is like it's kind of developed from very simple, like this is also just one piece of silver, right? And I hammered it and to making it a bit more intricate. So this is more recent, if you will.
Wow.
And a week ago, I decided I wanted to go melt stuff. So then I melted old silver. You may have seen my story yesterday.
I think I saw. No, maybe smaller version.
Yeah, no, this is the only one. It might look smaller.
I
Clearly
see.
wants to stay like that.
Yeah.
But so I did it with like little balls, and then I put it on rings. So this was actually something else and that I really didn't like, and so I'm kind of teaching myself how to do it. Like this is another one, and then I found that I could really polish it really nicely, and then it became all sorts of shiny.
Yeah. So you teach basically by yourself?
Yeah. So basically I'm just doing this, and then my partner's so the other day I showed her like, oh, I made this and I made that one. She's like, is that all you did today? I'm like, yeah, but I got really excited.
Exactly. Oh my god.
Yeah, so anyway, and I was a really big fan of this, but then she said, Rinske, it just looks like a stupid blob. Anyway, she's like, she loves most, but she's more into like things that are neatly done. So for instance, this she really loves. So she just cracks me up, right? Because I think this is so cool because it's so nothing and it's so many things at the same time.
You know what? I actually see a little bit of a cat when you face it. Oh, is it meant to be a cat?
No, it's because it's nothing. But yeah, it's what you see in it, and that's I'm a big fan of modern art as well. So that's it's kind of what you see in it. I think that's the same as with photography, or not always, but so for me that was fun, and then put all of like things that I made and bent together and soldered them. So basically I'm teaching myself how to solder, how it works, if it breaks or not.
So basically your inspiration is coming from discovery in self-teaching.
Yeah, the process, if you will. And I really, I saw this from someone else and I thought, oh, that's really cool, and I wanted to see how I can make that. So then I had to, kind of figure out how it was done.
Amazing.
And,
so is that okay if I will take some pictures later on?
Absolutely. Yeah,
fabulous.
Absolutely. I can also send you some photos.
That would be amazing, because I was actually thinking of I need a new ring. I bought this one on Etsy and
nice.
and it's meant to be a wedding ring, and I'm like, don't really want to. It took me such a long time to be wearing rings and be kind of like committed in a way. I just couldn't get kind of like over it in a way, because I just don't believe in such an institution, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I always kind of like I learned myself how to do like hand poking a little bit, which is kind of like this pretty much, but I've done like 2 dots here, like kind of okay, let's acknowledge this, let's accept it, and then I made kind of like 4 dots in here to kind of like remind myself of the independence, the ultimate freedom, and it's just
Did you do that one yourself?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Oh no, not all of them. I did this one, and that one.
I love that.
My mum calls it self-harm, I call it art.
I would call it art too. I'd love that. I'm not very much into tattoos, but I really love that. When you came in, I thought, oh, that's cool. I love that. I would have that right away.
Oh, thank you. Maybe we will see. Maybe I will teach myself how to get more. But back to you. So, I wanted to ask you basically. So it started with jewellery, but your base is in photography.
Well, I run this business, so I run a furniture business. So this is what I do on a 80-hour a week basis, and whenever I have free time, I can't sit still very well. As in, I can sit still. I'm not someone who needs to run around all the time, but I'm never sitting still with my hands, if you will. So I was always either making leather. In my previous job, I used to travel a lot, so then I would bring a bag and I would be stitching it on the plane. Now when I'm home, for instance, this is just I really enjoy making it, just bending it and making something. So basically, whenever I have free time, I'm doing stuff. I made concrete shit recently, and then my partner was like, Rinske, because I bought a bag of 45 kilos of cement, and that's really heavy.
That's about,
Yeah. So she prefers it when I have hobbies that are not so space consuming, if you will, because I've got so much leather in the house.
I mean, fair enough. That's useful. Leather is.
Yeah, not really. Like unless you work with it, which I really love to do as well. So it's I don't know. I just so there is no basis really, but as in no thing that I just only do. But currently, I'm very much into silver, and I may or may not. Let's not say it out loud. Got some like Delft clay, and then you can make casts. So then you can basically. I know print stuff.
Yeah.
Is that the right way of saying it? So if I wanted to make this from silver, I could just put this in the Delft clay, and then copy it by copying it in sand.
I see what
I've
you
never
mean.
done that before, but I've watched tons of YouTube, and I think I can do it. So
wow.
got the clay. I'm waiting for the old silver and the silver balls to be able to melt stuff.
I'm so excited for the results.
Me too.
Wow. How long do you think it's gonna take? This kind of a print.
I don't know. It's CNY soon. I should get all my supplies this week. So
wow.
CNY is going to be casting. It's called sand casting, and I've read a lot that people say that it goes horribly wrong. Anyway, we'll see. I often think I can do stuff. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Me too.
That's brilliant. Wow. Well, I love the fact that you're not just kind of like trying particularly to target like any specific audience, because I feel like your work is going to attract like the people that then are genuinely interested in it.
Yeah, I hope so. As in, I'm not doing it to sell necessarily. Obviously, it would be super cool like to sell stuff, and so we did this market on Lammer, and I thought, oh, it's Christmas, and I should probably do some Christmas trees, and I sold heaps of them, and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm also doing it because I've always loved silver, like jewelry, and I've always worn a lot. Like as opposed to like I've always had like all my fingers with rings.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's nice to be making it. It's also slightly scary because now when I mostly focused on bags, which is a few years ago, I would have an outfit and I would make a bag the day before so I could wear it with my outfit, which is really not okay.
That's brilliant. I love the determination, to be honest. That's quite motivating, to be honest.
Yeah,
amazing.
How small Hong Kong housing is, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
totally.
it's definitely easier to store, but yeah.
Oh,
so,
wow. So, I find it very therapeutic, the way how you kind of like talk about it. It's that, you process that energy into it.
Which one is your favourite? If you had to pick one. Or neither, none of them.
No, definitely. I have a few. I just can't decide. I'm trying to think practically because I'm left-handed and usually I am very clumsy and usually I kind of like have a tendency to kind of like drag stuff.
Oh yeah.
But I think in practicality I really love this one, and this one is very unique as well.
Cool.
They're very good, but I love all of them, to be perfectly honest.
No, you
even
don't
this
have
one
to.
is
Like
great.
you don't even have to like any of them. I just think it's interesting to see what people would pick out, isn't it? Like it's an interesting
perception for sure. So it's furniture, jewellery, and photography. So that is a very unique package.
Yeah, and leather bags, but
And leather bags.
Yeah, cool. I don't know that we I'll show you something for the tape. I'll show you what it is. But I haven't done that in a long time because I started a social enterprise with it, and then I got so very much taken away by just life in general. But this is the bags. So this is me a lot less grey than I am at the moment. So I made the skirt.
Wow.
So
I love that one.
T-shirt that I made.
Amazing.
Yeah. So see, I kind of always want to do stuff. I guess it's my mum who was never sat still.
Yeah.
Anyway, so don't feel like you need to look it up.
Beautiful. No, I love that. Amazing. What a variety. Oh, wow. Have you taken the pictures by yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I was in the girls. This was in Miami when I was traveling back then when we could still. And these girls, they were apparently. Have you been to the States at all, or to Miami by any chance?
I've been to New York for a bit. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Was I in Miami? There's something that's called what is it called? Something walls. Anyway, and they are all super colorful walls, and many people go there to shoot photos for themselves. So these girls were dancing, and I think they were applying to become ballerinas somewhere, so they had all these dancing photos. So they said, oh, can you take a few photos of us? And I said, sure, of course. Would you mind then that I also take a few with my bag? So, you know, that would be my advertisement, if you will.
Oh, brilliant. What an exchange. That's so cool. So do you also sell the bags?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So it's bags, it's the jewellery, it's basically like a stand in Llama Island where people can find
there was only this one time that we did a market. It was in, well, a friend of mine or someone I know on Llama, they organised it. And I said, yeah, sure, I'd love to do that, because I've got so many bags as well at home that I've made and that I don't use anymore, or that I've made just because I wanted to make them.
Yeah.
So it's all handmade, hand stitched.
How long does it take to create one bag?
Kind of depends on the size. So for instance, something like this took me a plane ride, so I got everything. This one I made on a plane to the Netherlands.
Wow.
Yeah, they don't mind if you bring super long needles, apparently.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but something like this obviously is quite small, so that would take half an hour maybe.
Really?
And then this would take about 10 hours, maybe 12 from start to finish.
Oh wow! I really want to sit next to your passengers making like a leather bag on their way.
Yeah, people quite like this. Some were like intrigued. Some were like, okay. And I sometimes would say to the flight attendants, like, how is it possible that I'm here with my super long needles?
Yeah, and then people are not allowed to bring their waters. Okay, well,
yeah,
that's a different conversation. But this is impressive. Wow, beautiful.
Yeah, so feel free to come to workshops and stuff, because my partner would be extremely thrilled if I could, do stuff and get rid of it.
Oh, yes, 100%. Wow. Oh my God. Okay, I have an idea. That would be brilliant if we could maybe promote something eventually, maybe from Hive as well, and
yeah, it'd be lovely.
We can do something like that. That would be super. Because this is exactly what actually Hive members really love, and do just kind of like a workshop when they can kind of actually take something physically
home. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
Yeah. So if we go back to photography, so you started doing photography before you moved to Hong Kong?
Yeah, I've always done photography. When we were young, my parents, I've got an older brother, and we would always go on holidays together. And each year we would go to a different country in Europe, and because my parents, again, don't sit still, right? So we would never go to one place, but we always do a bit of a tour, if you will. So for instance, we would go to Norway for, 2.5 weeks, and then my parents would give us a map, a book, something to write in about our journey, and a little camera, one of these throwaway ones. So it would always be like looking for photos and history and stories, so we could make a travel diary, if you will. So we always did that, and I've always really loved it. Like, my brother would always be the one to write. He's a lawyer now, and I was always the one taking photos and never finishing the writing.
Fair enough.
That kind of always stayed with me. And then when I graduated from high school, my parents gave me a good camera as a I don't know why, but they did that. It was really kind. And so ever since I've always taken photos. When I came here, I bought a really small digital one because I wanted to travel with it, because I was always on the road here, because the first 6 months I didn't really have a job yet. So I was always going places, and I thought my then camera was quite heavy, so I wanted something smaller and digital, so I had that. And I think 6 years ago I started using a proper camera, so now I've got we're back to big camera, big lenses and everything again, because my partner at the time, they they were a photographer as well, so it was nice to go shooting together. So we would travel a lot. We had same camera, so we would exchange lenses and stuff. So yeah, so then I got into the real deal with like manual photography, doing everything manually. And then I got my first exhibition, the what is it, the poster is there, last year. And
last year? Oh,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, so there was like a proper solo show. And I've always published in, like there's a Dutch Chamber magazine and a Dutch association, and I always had photographs in there, so in their magazines. But this was the first thing that was like a physical show with my photography, so yeah.
That's impressive.
That was really exciting. I thought it was really scary in the sense, like, because I, the same as this, like I make this for whoever likes it or for me, right? Because I love it, and the same I guess goes with photography. It can be quite personal.
And vulnerable, I guess, as well, right?
Yeah, I think so. Because it's like if people, like I'm fairly okay with people disliking me or disliking stuff, but then when you put it out there and people say, oh, it really sucks, it kind of hurts, doesn't it? So, and they didn't, thankfully, because they, that would be a really nasty thing to do, but it is vulnerable. I felt quite vulnerable when I did that. It was funny. I never really feel like that. But so putting it out there was, quite something.
Amazing. So most of your photos are black and white. Is there kind of particular reason for this aesthetic?
Yeah, good question. I think stuff in color is very easy to like, and it really has a great. I mean, there's nothing wrong with color photography. I think it's really absolutely stunning. But I think when it comes to black and white, the object needs to be really nice.
How would you define nice?
Yeah, it's personal, isn't it? But if you look at that photo, so that is, it's in Kennedy Town actually. It's your building. I think. Yeah, I think it's the Hive. So it's the MTR station in the back, and then the white building I think is the Hive Tower, or it's one next to it.
Oh, interesting.
I think what makes this cool is that the sun just hit that building, happens to be white, and it really lights up the photo, and you're drawn to that. If it was color, you'd be really distracted by everything that would happen in the foreground. So I think that makes it cool. So and again, if I say it is nice, it is what I think is nice, right? It's not necessarily a thing. For instance, other people would say when it's in color, the photo needs to be really good. When it's in black and white, you can disguise a whole lot.
Yeah.
So that's another.
So I saw these. Yeah.
Another way of seeing it. But for instance, this I think that's a friend of mine and or their child. I think for me this makes it cool because she is the complete focus, whilst everything else is darker because she's wearing this light colored dress and stuff. If it was in color, there would be so much going on, and now you kind of eliminate everything else, but because she's wearing a light dress and light shoes, that's what comes to the foreground more. Because this is the Starfair, right? So this would be silver. This is, I think the floor is green. The ceiling is messy. So in a way, you get your audience to focus on what's happening.
Absolutely. And you also, I feel like you sense the emotion a little bit more intensively.
Could be, yeah. But I think that that's something I would never want to put on someone, because I don't think I should have an opinion about how you feel. I like that it's appealing to people in their own way. Like when, I don't know if, so for instance, I'm a linguist, right? So I've never studied literature because I found it really hard to work with people who said, oh, but the author may have thought this or that. I'm like, well, who knows? Because it's how I interpret it. So I always like to leave it to people to see what they think, and if they, if they like it or they don't, then that is very much up to them.
Yeah, that is so true, and not many people have the capacity to be able to realize it, right? That even though that your pictures might be black and white, the perception is never black and white.
Yeah, because you have your own story, right? Like for instance, you could see this, you could see the IFC and the flight, and you might have like thoughts about how you left from the UK to come here, or how you left from Ukraine, right? You said
Czech Republic.
Czech Republic to go somewhere else. So you might have like all of these images. Whilst for me, like when I see this, for me it gives me a sense of hope that I can see my family again. But that is so different for you. For you, it might just be, oh my god, this is the IFC. It's the first building I saw when I arrived in Hong Kong. Right. So it's I think that makes that is photography to me. It's different for everyone. Or like this could be either a dream because it's so vague and someone is cooking, so there's all sorts of beautiful steam and stuff. So yeah.
So your main inspiration is obviously travel, and whatever basically you capture with your eye that captures your attention.
Yeah, I think when I'm walking around with my camera, I look differently. Like when you walk on the streets and you're walking, or many people of course here are on their phones, right? You don't really notice what's happening around you. But when you actually look, or when you're looking for things that are cool, I think you're more present, or you look for different things. So I don't know whether it's if I'm inspired by what I see, or that what just happens around me may be nice or may not be nice, right? And you could also put plenty of different photographers right next to each other, and some might take the same shot and some might see something else, right? Or might focus on something else. So it's also, I guess, what just comes across. But I'm not even sure if I'm that like deep when when it's if I think about inspiration or stuff. It usually same with my jewelry, like what I don't know, I kind of go with what, like these are all bits and pieces that I cut off of stuff, and then it became something new. I guess that's what I kind of like. And with this, I never planned it to go like that, but I kind of just went with how.
You went with your intuition, with your gut.
I guess.
Yeah. That's brilliant, because you kind of like act upon your impulses as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's only in art. Like I'm not a very impulsive person at all when it comes to the rest of life. Yeah,
that's fair. Oh wow, I have so many questions. So
bring it on. Let me just open the door because I think everyone has left, and then we can get some more air in.
Oh, nice.
And then I hope this is not too disturbing, because this might sometimes be a bit loud in the recording.
Oh, it's okay. No worries. So I was wondering, you've been in Hong Kong lockdown for pretty much 2 years now, right?
Yeah.
That's so crazy. I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's very long.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, at least it wasn't as bad as it was in UK when we had that period of like, I don't know, like 4 months when we were allowed to even go out once a day, only just to get groceries, and that was pretty much it. But that then kind of like opened it up, and then slowly people could start to travel. But you guys had to focus like so internally around Hong Kong. So have you had a chance to maybe perceive Hong Kong a little bit differently, especially for your photography? Or
yeah, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily positive.
Oh yeah, fair.
I find it really hard. I have found it really hard, because I'm and I think that would be too political for the recording, but I find it really difficult that people don't get the vaccinations right away. And, so I have a strong opinion about that, but obviously I can't judge what anyone else does or put it out there. So I find it really tricky, and I've not liked Hong Kong more for it, to be fairly honest with you. On the other hand, it's really nice that we didn't have all the death that you guys had in Europe, and like all the horrible stories that you hear from the US and all over the world. Like in that sense, we've been really lucky that we've been shielded from it. But I think that backfires now, like right now as we speak. So I found it tricky, but I should say that with the things I love to do like this is something I did take up because it was COVID. But when it comes to this bit, the furniture business and many other things, it's been really very tricky. Not seeing my parents. I've never had even met Lucy's parents, because we've been together as of the start of COVID. So she moved here just before COVID lockdown everything. So that's a bit tricky, you know. I wish we could just go and meet each other's parents and just the simple things.
Yeah, and do it properly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, I'm well aware of the fact that we're super lucky and that we can always choose to go somewhere else. But right now, I would really love to just be able to go back and hug my parents. Like I haven't seen them in almost 3 years now. So it's becoming a bit long, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you think that was like the most frustrating thing about it so far, or?
Yeah, for sure. Because it's tricky on many parts that expats are coming not as they used to be. Like you're one of the exceptions, I think, coming to.
We realize that, yeah.
So it's tricky for everyone, right? So I'm part of the Dutch Chamber, and then it's tricky for us to find new members or people who are actually willing still to come to Hong Kong. This business used to really strive on foreigners coming in because they, whether that's good or bad, but they would be spending money fairly easily, and you have to really adapt, and that is not always easy when there's a lot going on, I guess. So I don't see it. I find it difficult to see COVID as a positive, in the sense that in the beginning I would really like enjoy, because I love being at home with Lucy and our dogs. I really love it, and I know it sounds really sad, but I miss her like now, because we haven't seen each other all day, which is so sad. But that's
oh my god,
it's sad. I'm so well aware of it. So I absolutely adore being with her. She's my best friend and she's everything I ever wished for. But still, like we together want to go out and we want to go do stuff and go home. So we can just, you know, be home for a while. And I think it's different for you because you've just arrived here. But I wonder, like in say half-year time or a year time, if you feel similarly, because sometimes you need a break from Hong Kong, I find.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. I mean, for us, we've been in this kind of like a travel euphoria still. Yeah. We kind of like left quite a lot of drama when we moved from London and kind of like postponing our weddings and kind of like going through like up and downs, as every relationship obviously goes through. But I saw Hong Kong like as an opportunity, but like not an obvious escape, you know, from, you know, oh no, let's pretend that nothing ever happened. So it's still kind of there, but the euphoria from like the new place is everlasting, and we're just kind of like trying to reconnect with the nature. Like every weekend we're trying to do hikes.
Yeah, that's truly kind of amazing, isn't it?
Incredible.
Yeah.
We've never expected anything like this from Hong Kong.
It's cool, right?
Beautiful. Like, yeah, it puts almost every second weekend I have a little bit like a tear, like of an awe, just kind of like watching the whole horizon. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and I can completely understand that. I still feel that. So I take the ferry to Lama, and still every night I'm like, oh, it's so pretty. So I definitely get that, and that doesn't go away, even not after 11 years.
Yeah, so, absolutely. And even last weekend we went to Lama as well, and we did beach cleanup with this charity kind of a thing. And again, when we went up, you know, to the small, how do you call it, pavilion, I think. Yeah, it's still like, so beautiful. So much oxygen around as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm kind of escaping from the topic.
It's okay.
So I wanted to ask you about the future. What is your hope for your work? What is the hope for your creativity and your inspiration? Like, are you planning to do another exhibition, maybe through the lenses of Hong Kong and pandemic? Or
I would hope so. Like the gallery that I did this with, they're super nice, but they focus on like art like that. So for instance, this art piece I bought from them, from a different artist. So they focus on that and don't necessarily focus on photography. But because I know them quite well, they said, yeah, sure, we would love to do that with you. But in the future, if you want to do more with your photography, you should probably look for a gallery that is more specialized in photography. So I'd love to do something like that. But I'm also well aware that many people just take really good photos, right? Because it's ever since phone cameras are quite alright, and many people have cameras. I think it's many people are just very good. So I wouldn't know why I would be an exception, but yeah, of course I'd love to do more, and I really enjoy it. I really do enjoy just having. I really like tools. I guess we can just do. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah,
I really love my camera. I love playing around with the lenses and geeking over them, and the same goes for this stuff. Like with the silver, just really like I can get so excited for a tool, which is also sad.
No, I don't think so. And also, not everyone has your perception, right? Not everyone has your eyes and the way how you see the world.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's true. Everyone does see it slightly differently, but yeah. So I'd love to do that, and I'd love for when we go back to Europe, love to keep doing it there as well. All of the things, like I'd love to have like a big room with just like a workspace, like a desk twice this size and
l'atelier.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh wow! So you're planning to go back?
Eventually, yeah. Yeah, it depends on the travel restrictions, and we shouldn't put that out there because I run this business, so
Oh, don't worry, I'll scratch that. Don't worry,
but yeah, Lou and I have said like if nothing changes, we will go back. So in July we're going to revisit all of the options, see how this goes, because it's been really tricky with this business. So I've had some really shit challenges with the team that I had to let go, and then now I'm working 80 hours a week, and I love working hard, but 80 hours is just not fun. No. So I said it to the owner. He said, so what do you want, shares? I said no, not now, because I first need to know how we're going to develop this. So it's all a bit up in the air, which also gives chance for opportunities at the moment. I think let's go do something else, but on the other hand, Hong Kong is also so full of chances. Like there's always an opportunity like this. I think this would not happen, like you coming here or reaching out to me. I don't know how it is in Europe because I've never worked there, but I think people here are so much more reliant on relationships, like on friendships and on connections, and that is a lot less, I think, in Europe, but I wouldn't really know, but that's what I think.
No, 100%, especially like facing English personalities.
Oh really?
Very, very much. I had to really reserve myself because I'm extremely open, and I am that kind of a person, like when you're in a dinner party. So my partner, he works in a bank, and I am still I have a full-time job, and I'm finishing my PhD as well in sex education and partnership counselling. And basically a dinner party with his colleagues, and we don't talk about sex. I'm like, oh, this is so boring. Like I'm literally cringing inside. I mean, I know it sounds really extreme, but it's kind of like I'm trying to it's constantly readapting yourself and kind of conservating your impulses, like, and bottling it up, whilst in here Hong Kong provides that kind of diversity that you kind of make your way around it without actually bottling yourself in. So it's too early maybe for me to judge.
No, I think it's fine. And it's seriously, I find that people here are very open. The people that you can meet a lot of stringent, like very straightforward people. I tend to not meet them because I'm like you. So that's why I said, we should not say this, because if I would just let myself go, I would be, we'll do that one day off of the records.
I wouldn't be recording it. Yes.
So I'm very much like that, and my partner is also British, and she would say, "Rinske, shut up."
Oh right, yeah.
Oh my God, she's so open. I'm like, well, yeah, but who cares? And she's like, well, that's just not what we do. Cracks me right up, So I do believe that when you're in Hong Kong, there's so many chances to meet people. If I compare it, for instance, to the Netherlands, where when I studied, I had a friend who was an international student, and then all of the international students would hang out, not necessarily with the Dutch people, because they are, they've got their own groups and stuff, and I feel the same goes around here, right? So it's so easy to meet people, because many people are open to meet other people, and I think that's really awesome. So you can really form really cool friendships, and I think it goes quite quickly because you know, we're not in an age that we're hanging out with people that we don't really like, because what's the point? So,
Exactly.
yeah, and I think that's really cool. Like in Hong Kong, you can say, okay, well, I like you, and let's hang out. And if not, then no. And
bye bye.
yeah, and if yes, then that's awesome. And then
Yeah.
voila, there is a friendship within like a few weeks. You can be really close to someone, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, 100%. It just really, it took me a while to actually get used to the straightforwardness that people actually tell you, okay, like, no, let's not do it this way. And they don't tell you like why, or they're not trying to be polite about it. They're just like, no. And you're kind of like in that, at least at work. And I'm just kind of like, okay, let's accept this and let's move on, you know. And that became my mantra to life on a different continent. But yeah.
Fascinating. Yeah, I think the Hive is a different subculture though. Like the Hive is not comparable to the rest of Hong Kong, I don't think. Because co-working spaces always have a certain type of people, I guess, right?
Yeah, totally. I think maybe like in Kennedy Town we have 4 kind of like floors that are stacked on each other, and like every floor has different community.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that it's kind of mixed. It's like expats and locals in a way. But yeah, I think I'm kind of I'm depending on them so much. And not being very focused on what I'm doing in there, with like being focused on the Excel sheets and admin and kind of like monitoring everyone's membership, and it's kind of like not really connected to my values.
Okay, so what is it that you want to do then?
It was literally just kind of like the excitement first, because I got this job when I was still in the 21 days in the quarantine. So I was like, yes, I'll take it. Amazing. Perfect. You know, because when you hear community associate, you hear that word community and it's like a buzzword, and
it is.
Yeah, let's connect, let's network. But then at the end of the day, I just kind of like sit there and I wait for things to come and find me.
Yeah, but that doesn't really seem like your personality at all. To come and wait for stuff.
No. So I can definitely relate to you, like not being able to sit on one spot for a really long time. So, and coming from UK, I worked for this small space, kind of like an art hub, where I was connecting local artists to charities, and I kind of like helped them to develop their workshops, their talks, to actually execute them in that space, and then eventually even, you know, make an exhibition about it. So that was kind of like my excitement that kind of like bubbled up, and then this kind of thing happened, and Hive is becoming a little bit more corporate as well. And yeah, you can just see like the direction that is very focused on money, which is very understanding in Hong Kong.
It's very Hong Kong,
Yeah. But I feel like now I'm very happy and guilty to move in a different direction. I'm sorry, I just noticed your Dutch shoes in there.
Yeah, this is so. This used to be my office. It's still my office technically, but I had to move to the sales floor because there was only me left to do sales. So now I've got some more people again. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
Turned out they were all drinking in work and absolutely hating on me. So that was so toxic. So I fired them.
Really?
Yeah, it was really shit. Yeah, I've had the hardest 2 months of my life, I think, the past 2 months. So. Yeah, it's really terrible. Like and again, this should not be on the recording, but
okay, let me.
No. It's, I mean, as long as you don't use it.